Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. What an incredible episode. Episode 4, Dandadan. Just too much freaking fun, dude. I have my issues with Science Saru and every now and then having kind of a very framey animation, but gosh dang, once that classical music kicked in and they start dashing out of there, doing some crazy Spider-Man flipping all over the place, goofy antics in the middle of the air, it was just absolute fun. Like, it's just way too much freaking fun, dude. I absolutely loved it. But at the same time, having some cool little story thrown at the very end there, I wasn't really expecting. I should have expected. Typically with a lot of spirit yokai type of stories, especially out of Japan, they always kind of like to wrap some sort of story in there. And having, yes, that Turbo Granny technically is a good yokai that is trying to console the dead of people that were horrifically wronged and was killed and murdered and, yes, forced upon, all that kind of stuff. Being there to kind of comfort them or whatever while they're kind of trapped in that world was really cool. Kind of seeing a cool side of Turbo Granny, even though Turbo Granny's crazy. But yes, if you had my bingo card did not have Okarun actually follow through with the offer from Turbo Granny. Turbo Granny offered this. He went with it. Just chomp. Just absolutely freaking wild. Just absolutely freaking wild. The moment he chomped down, I'm like, yeah, you technically did offer that. What do you expect there? But no, anyways, let's get in the episode proper, opening up with them actually going there. I love the little kind of back and forth they have at the very beginning. It really does feel like Ayase, even though she wants to play like she's, confident and she's not scared, it's like, literally, look at me crying. I'm crying, right? You should go before me. You're not crying. And then just inside there, just acting like she's tough. Eventually, Turbo Granny showing up, taking away his power. I guess I really wasn't expecting that the idea that, yes, technically all she got to do is give back his wiener and he can't use the power. But it was really cool here because, I don't know, it almost kind of plays it out like it was all according to plan, but it obviously was kind of them using their wits at the time of the moment. Obviously, Ayase having to bait into having the race itself, and then eventually Turbo Granny cheats, and then Okarun finally has to step up. Recalling back there where she's like, you silly, I'm going to save you anyways. Him finally going, look, I have to do something. And it turns into, yes, him chomping down on her chest, forcing her to have to possess him. And that's the point which Ayase can finally control it. So really cool thing there. But again, this goes into the overall story of the location-bound spirit. That apparently, as we find out at the very end, and this is apparently why Grandma went there in order to see if she could stop it, is yes, there's a semblance here that people are spirits of people that were brought here. And yes, forced upon, killed, were all being trapped there. Their spirits weren't able to pass on, and it seems like Turbo Granny came here in order to be with them. And yeah, that's why this thing gets so angry the moment they grab Turbo Granny. They finally got her, they capture her, and the location-bound spirits get ticked off. No, don't take Granny from us. Granny's taking care of us. Granny's protecting us. Granny's doing all this stuff for us. No, don't take Granny. Really interesting to kind of tie that all together. Again, chasing him down. They're not going to get Turbo Granny. But this is where it's really cool, where it starts to kind of play with the mechanics of the two of them. They kind of mentioned this in the previous episode when they were training. The idea that, yeah, she's going to have to piggyback off him. Have him carry her as he uses his power. And yes, work together with each other. It's kind of interesting that they're doing so well initially because they didn't get a chance to actually practice. They were going to practice. They didn't get a chance to actually practice. But they're still pulling it off. Just kind of rushing out there, him flying all over the place, and eventually, yes, them all. Well, first they cook the crab. Which completely, at this point, I'm thinking is going to just completely traumatize Okarun. They cook the crab, and then Turbo Granny calls all the spirits to come after them, and so we have this big, massive wave of zombies. It looked like the spirits themselves were possessing people in the brief clip, but it's supposed to be the cemetery, all these zombies coming after them. And yes, my gosh, the moment that he transforms once again, having one more go at it, I assume at this point is going to be one of those things where if he continues to transform into Turbo Granny, yeah, technically it's probably going to be something that they get over. Like, oh, now he can suddenly do it 3 times. It didn't imply that he went overdrive at the very end, but he did transform again, which is not something he should be able to do, because just 2 times is crushing his body. But anyways, yeah, just the music kicking on, the gunshot goes off, and they start just plowing through there and just using the flinging all over the place, running across the wall. All that stuff was just super freaking cool. All the way to the point where they get almost there, Turbo Granny comes out, starts kicking them around, and then again, Ayase calling her out. And again, this is where those moments of like, okay, how much of this is actually planned? Because it seems like the grandma was waiting for them. So did they have a plan that they might possibly use the train in order to, I guess, get Turbo Granny over there? I don't know. It kind of plays it out like everything is going as according to Keikaku, but yet at the time it doesn't seem like it's going according to Keikaku. It's just kind of weird in that regard. But yeah, I do like the fact that she's literally taunting Turbo Granny using modern slang. Like, it literally is an old lady that will not like somebody talking in modern slang. They don't understand it. They hate it. But yeah, aside from the idea of it going according to Keikaku and not really being explained as being part of the plan, having grandma there ready for it with the barrier up was freaking way cool. But that's when it's revealed that, yeah, this massive location-bound spirit is just comprised of nothing but school children, teenagers, all these people that were horrifically wronged in some way, again, forced upon, used, disposed of, murdered, all that kind of stuff, just kind of flying out of it. And essentially because in that whole little after segment, yeah, kind of explaining it to Ayase and Okarun, the idea of this Turbo Granny coming here and helping them or be with them, it gets a little bit into coexistence and the idea that this is not something that she really wanted to do. This wasn't something that grandma wanted to do with this spirit. It's just something that was kind of forced upon them. Because it's now doing horrible things to the living, those that are not a part of this whole situation, that's where finally they had to do something. That would explain probably why grandma initially went there, is that this Turbo Granny and this location-bound spirit is doing harmful things to the living. It can't exist anymore. We can't coexist anymore. Whereas it's implying that typically they don't really kind of force the matter. Like, if it was going to sit there and just exist, it'd be fine. But no, because it's doing all this other stuff, because it's now harming Ayase, it's attacked Okarun, something has to be done with it. But it still put it in a way that this is almost a two-directional road here, that it's the same for the living. If you're going to keep messing with these spirits, don't be surprised if you get killed. Same thing with the spirits themselves. If you keep messing with the living, don't be surprised that you're going to get killed. So it is sort of implying there's a little bit of a balance here. There's a yin and yang that's happening with this world and the spirit mediums at least. Anyhow, that's when they have their little after party. Absolute goofiness. Why are we eating crab right now? You guys are seriously gonna eat crab right now? You got grandma's over there and she's doing the little crab thing over there, wanting to see Okarun's wiener. He doesn't want to show it, obviously, rushing around the room. Ayase's over here, she's ignoring the situation, probably because she is wanting to see it too. She's just jumping down on the crab over there. He runs out the door. And we have a little cute scene at the very end, implying, or at least Ayase's trying to imply the idea that the only reason that grandma is being goofy, the only reason that she's wanting to see it is because she's just trying to tease him, because she's trying to lighten his mood. She's trying to make him feel welcome. He's not eating. He's not doing anything. Just kind of break that depression that he kind of has there. A little sweet little kind of outro, even though he doesn't want to believe it. I kind of believe it, but it all wraps up with not a goodbye. A little sweet little scene there. Goodbye, 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 and then eventually I'll see you tomorrow. I knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. That little signification that after all this crazy stuff, it's hard to believe because we watch it weekly, these episodes, but yeah, this is all like a span of 24 hours. Like, this has just been a crazy night between the two of them, and now finally we have this moment right here where it's just like, all right, I'll see you at school tomorrow. Like, you know, this isn't the end. We're still going to be friends kind of thing. So it's super sweet. But yes, it does beg the question, what next? He's got his wiener back. Now, slight spoilers here. This is anime spoiling things, by the way. The anime is implying this, so I'm not really spoiling anything from the manga. I haven't read the manga. But yes, the preview for the next episode is implying something. So if you don't want to know about what the preview says, you know, don't listen to it beyond this point. I appreciate you watching the video, but yes, the question mark is what's next? He's got his wiener back. Do they just run into another spirit at some point? The preview for the next episode implies why grandma wanted to see his wiener. The next episode literally says, the title for the next episode is, where's the two round things? And it has grandma saying, this is why I wanted to see it. Now, it could be just a joke. Like, it could just be the actual preview is a joke. Like, maybe the two round things that she's questioning about, maybe it's just, you know, in reference to guts. Like, hey, Okarun, there's a situation, where's your guts? Like, why won't you stand up for yourself or whatever? And maybe it's just got that joke there from the grandma. That's why I wanted to see your wiener as a joke for there. We'll see. But that would be pretty funny, again, because it's like one of those aspects of like, he didn't recognize the fact that he didn't have it down there, his wiener. And now he doesn't recognize that he doesn't have two large objects down there too that you kind of have to, on a regular basis, manage as a male. It's a thing you have to manage. I don't know. If he doesn't know that that's not down there, it's going to be really puzzling, but we'll see. It shows a new character in the preview, so excited to see another character to be added to the chemistry. It's already been fantastic so far. Like, if we had an entire series of these three, I'd be perfectly happy. I guess my more bigger question is this it for Turbo Granny? That's the question mark. It could be implying the idea that Okarun's ability and his strength might not just come from Turbo Granny herself, but just because she possesses him, it gives him an aura or a power, and then he himself transforms into its own thing. So we might go into this whole thing where every time they run into a situation, he gets possessed by something, and that thing fuels him to turn into something. We'll see. Or Turbo Granny could still be around. It sort of implies that Turbo Granny... It never really technically said that Turbo Granny died. It just showed this mass that Turbo Granny was a part of, which was this location-bound spirit that she was kind of fused within. And then when it hits that barrier, it was all shattered out, and all the spirits were released. But Turbo Granny could still be alive. So I guess we'll see if suddenly out of nowhere she pops her head up again into Okarun or something like that, wants to hang out with him some more. We'll see, but I'd be curious to see how it's going to have him, because I would imagine that possession, that strength that he has, that transformation is something that's going to keep around for a while. Like, that's his stick, that's his power. Though Turbo Granny in this episode did question if he was from a family of sorcerers or something like that. The moment that he, chomped down on her chest and she had to possess him, she was implying the idea that she didn't have enough strength to overcome him as he was bit down. And when she possessed him, she said, "Are you from a family of sorcerers?" Question mark. I mean, Turbo Granny at this point probably already assumes what Ayase is, that she is from a family of spirit mediums. Is a possibility that Okarun is from a family of sorcerers or something like that. What that would have to do with being possessed and having powers, who knows? Anyhow, I think that's everything. I did like the bit where they're running through the city and she's constantly going, "Why, there's so many people here, they can't see the crab. This is embarrassing. Hopefully, we don't run into somebody that I know." Just getting piggybacked through the city like at a breakneck speed, and she's upset about the idea of somebody seeing them and being embarrassed. It's more surprising that nobody's questioning why they're blasting past at that speed. Anyhow, fantastic episode. Super freaking cool. Just too much fun, dude. This show is just too much fun. Through and through, just too much fun. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what's the episode. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. If you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. Until next time, y'all take care.